Hola amigos! Welcome back to Eating with Andy. Today we're gonna be making a turrón de chocolate. The original turrón or nougat is a Spanish dessert made with honey, egg whites, and nuts. But this is Peru's adaptation, which has a brownie-like texture and it's covered in homemade fudge sauce. So let's get started. The first thing we're gonna make is the fudge sauce because it needs to cool down in the fridge. This fudge will change your life. I eat it on its own over ice cream and I use it to cover my chocolate cake, which I make for friends' birthdays. A super versatile fudge sauce. So let's get cracking. Dissolve 6 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder and 1 teaspoon of instant coffee with half a cup of boiling water. Adding a bit of coffee to your chocolate desserts really helps enhance the chocolatey flavor without giving it a coffee taste. In a saucepan, combine 1 tin of evaporated milk and 1 tin of condensed milk together with the cocoa and coffee. Cook over medium-low heat, stirring all the time until you can see the bottom of the pan. You have to stay glued to the pan, stirring constantly because you don't want the milks to burn. This could take up anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You know the fudge has reached the right stage when you can actually feel that the bottom is kind of sticking and you can see lines created by the spoon. Turn the heat off and add 1 tablespoon of butter for shine and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Sieve into a bowl just to make sure you don't have any bits of undissolved cocoa powder in there. Place some cling film over, making sure that it's actually touching the top of the fudge. This will prevent the skin from forming while it's cooling in the fridge. Okay, now let's refrigerate it for at least 1 hour. While our fudge is cooling in the fridge, let's start working on our turrón batter. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, fan forced, always, and line a rectangular baking dish with some parchment paper. In a bowl over simmering water, melt 250 grams of butter with 150 grams of dark chocolate. I'm using 70% cocoa, Lindt, which is divine. Once melted, add 4 tablespoons of cocoa and mix well. Combine 3 eggs, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of white sugar with a hand whisk for a couple of minutes. Add the warm melted chocolate mix to the sugar and eggs and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix with a spatula. Fold in 1½ cups of sifted plain flour, a pinch of salt, and half a cup of pecans and half a cup of almonds, which I've toasted and processed until finely chopped. Gently fold in the dry ingredients. Don't overmix it because we don't want it to have a light cake type texture. bake for around 30 to 35 minutes into a skewer inserted in the middle. Comes out nice and clean. We're gonna let this cool completely before we add the fudge, because if it's still warm, the fudge is gonna melt. I like to use a wire rack to help speed up the process. Okay, so our turron is nice and cool. We've got our fudge that I've taken out of the fridge, and I've got some sliced and toasted pecans, which we're gonna sprinkle at the end. Let's cover this turron with our luscious gooey fudge. Look at all those nuts. The texture. It's a bit fudgy still, it's nice and dense. All those nuts are coming through. That fudge is gooey and sticky. It's got a beautiful chocolatey flavor. You can't stop at one piece. That was my turrón de chocolate. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Adios, amigos.